dish.
Hit a little traffic. Optimus.
Decepticons.
That is a scene from the 2007 Transformers movie. Now, watch it again like this. The new 2007 Chevy Camaro with a rugged 3.6-liter V6 engine and enough horsepower to make a Transformers shudder, starting at $29,999. So what are you waiting for? Transform your tomorrow today. Feel like you've seen that before? This series of shots from one of Hollywood's biggest blockbusters of '07 is one of the worst examples of product placement you will ever see. It is a glorified commercial stuffed inside of a movie, a $30,000 car, as you clutch your $12 movie ticket. But what's really astonishing is that this is nothing compared to what the rest of the movie and the next movies had in store.
eBay.
So how exactly does product placement work? Well, a company, let's say Beats, pays the store X amount of shots and seconds. They also sometimes have approval rights. Yes, that is an actual scene from Transformers 4, but we'll come back to that. When done well, let's start with the numbers. This is how many products or brands are represented throughout the first 4 Transformers movies. 64 different brands and moments of product placement in the original film. 45 in Revenge of the Fallen, an absurd 68 in Dark of the Moon, and 55 in Transformers 4. That means that over 220 brands are represented across these 4 films. For a point of reference, the year Dark of the Moon launched, Transformers 3, the movie with the second most bit of product placement had almost half of that film. For context, in the first movie, that is a moment of product placement for every 2 minutes of runtime. Now, product placement isn't always this. A monitor, for example, with this logo on the front.
Bud Light presents Real Men of Genius. Real Men of Genius.
This Budweiser commercial is stuffed in the middle of Transformers 4. It is one of the single most disruptive and degrading moments of product placement I have ever seen. After a dangerous and climactic crash through a delivery truck, our hero hops out of the wreckage and gets back into the thick of it. Or so he should have. Here instead, we get this sequence. We see the giant Budweiser truck. Instead of being concerned with our hero, we get this shot of Bud bottles spread across the ground, and then this shot, which literally serves no purpose other than to show the brand off again. That is the only reason this shot exists. And then we get this moment where our hero, instead of, saving the world, cracks open a cold one off the ground and takes a sip before going about his heroic business. It is horrible, but not just because it's product placement, it gets 3 things very wrong. If every shot in a film should matter, well, this shot then destroys that reality. It doesn't matter at all. Number 2, pacing is a key element of action movies and action sequences. And while this moment slows that pacing to a grinding halt to show you, this. And most importantly, number 3, this entire minute of the film, this added minute of runtime does nothing to further the story, the world, or the characters. It only exists to show you a can. That is a different problem. Here, in the same film, we are being given one of the more important moments of exposition. This is the tech the whole narrative is built around, and this is the moment that we, the audience, are meant to be given enough information and context to understand why it's important, why we should care about it. So how did the filmmakers do that? Well,
The pill.
by turning it into a Beats pill, calling out the product by name and shoving it, logo out, into the frame of the camera. Oh yeah, and it does all of this in 3D. That's right, it literally shoves the Beats pill in your face. The problem here is that this is a relatively important moment. It is a moment we need to understand what's going to follow, and yet what the film chooses to focus on is selling us a speaker, blatantly, instead of keeping us immersed in its story and selling us on its narrative. Whereas the Budweiser sequence only exists for the product placement, this Beats moment exists in spite of something that matters. It's another commercial shoved into a 2-hour movie. But I think what movies like Transformers throughout the entire series really get wrong is quantity.
You can tell your folks it's on eBay. I take PayPal.
Where is the eBay item 21153? eBay.
eBay. I need money to take out the girls when I need.
Yet the Transformers movies can't seem to go a single minute, or literally 2 minutes, without shoving reality down your throat. Take the climax of the first Transformers movie. The big fight in the city, it should be filled from moment one till it ends with suspense, stakes, and again, a believable battle between two species. But at every turn, the film reminds you to buy an Xbox 360 or maybe drink some Mountain Dew, and don't forget, this car, still awesome and still for sale. It never gives you a moment to escape reality, something better movies try and succeed at. It's hard to enter this world when you can't forget about eBay because Sam won't stop telling you about it. Oh, and PayPal. There are so many different shots of the cars with their logos and frame that it's clear the movie's runtime is bloated simply to shove the contractual requirements in there. This kind of product placement makes it impossible to believe. And after seeing this, it kind of seems remarkable that so many other movies can get this right, and they do. Transformers, on the other hand, was slowly written around its product placement and changed to fit it into the films, whereas better movies just place the product. Movies like, so dear Paramount, Universal, Sony, Disney, it isn't that I don't want your product placement, it's that no one, not a single soul on earth wants Mark Wahlberg stopping during the apocalypse to sell them beer. At least have him wait until the earth is saved.
Huh?